Sucks to be dead. My name is Rick, and these are the Dreadful Minutes. This is going to be a contest entry video for Andy, who has a channel that goes by Cloudy Milder. He's based in the UK, and he is somebody who I've recently had a new appreciation for. I admittedly have not been subscribed to a lot of the folks overseas. Me being based in Philadelphia, naturally I would circulate to, people within my vicinity because it's just more familiar. But I've actually found quite a bit, sometimes more, of an appreciation for what those guys across the pond have to talk about and show. And Andy has reached a milestone of 1,000 subs, which is, that's a feat in and of itself. And it's very well deserved. I think he's a little more now, at 1,008 or 80 last time I checked. And I think he's going to reach 2,000 at least by the end of the year, at the rate that he's going. And with everything just sort of going viral and people just kind of coming on. So I hope people like myself can help bring on new subscribers for him, more traffic his way. So congratulations, Andy. And important to note, he's been on YouTube for what looks like 5 years. That is a long time, in the YouTube VC community, just in general. So he's been providing, the community, people out there looking for information, just a direction for good music through people like him. And I've enjoyed everything he's been putting out and talking about. I really enjoy his channel. So that's just why I thought doing this contest entry would be fun and entertaining. I've done a contest entry this month, and I've been very lucky, and I've won that. But I don't think it's going to happen again this time. And this is really not why I'm doing this. It's really all in good fun, and I would just to be a participant in his challenge, which is consists of 4 questions. So it's really easy to do, but it wasn't so easy to find everything in a way that I thought it would be, which I'll show. Not everything is metal, especially the last question. So you shall see. But I hope this is entertaining anyway, and I'll just answer these questions based on the way I best know how and through my own style and personality. So enjoy. And here we go. Question number 1. Question number 1. Something Old, Something New. Show 2 albums by the same artist/band that have at least 6 years between releases. And I actually have such a band, and these 2 albums have exactly 6 years in between. So this is a band, let me pull it up here. Out of the UK, called Anathema. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this band, especially if you are into that doom, especially the old Peaceville bands. These guys were, there's that logo. So Anathema were part of the original sort of Peaceville big, along with Paradise Lost, My Dying Bride, and bands like that. And they have innovated that scene very early, along with everybody else. And this is their first album, Serenades. And this is probably their doomiest, darkest album they put out with this debut. This band has been around for a long time. They're still together. But the sound has changed quite a lot. So this was released in February 28th, 1993. The original vocalist, by the name of Darren White, who was part of this band, disbanded not too long after this. I think he hung around for a little bit more, and they took on another vocalist, and eventually the Kavanaugh brothers kind of took the duty of the vocals and everything else involved with this band. There are some pretty heavy, dense riffage going on here, but there's also very light moments. There is female vocals in this, very sweet, kind of somber, part of that whole doom early 90s scene, especially if you know all the Peaceville stuff. Peaceville wasn't always like this, especially before this, but in the 90s, he took off and it built on this identity, and they were signing bands like this. Very good band, and they have some classics here. Sleepless, which is all right. The reason I bring that song up is because are they breaking a rule? There's something about doom where it's kind of recognize it for it to be a certain way, but that song Sleepless has so much pinch harmonics happening that I'm like, are you guys doing something or violating some code when it comes to old doom metal? Zach Wilde will like it, but I just thought that was very strange. I like the song. Scars of the Old Stream, Where Shadows Dance. These are songs I've been listening to since the 90s. And Darren White's vocals are not very easy to appreciate or even enjoy. Some people just hate it outright. And I can understand that. Not a very accessible album, especially if you're not very groomed with doom. If it's not really normally your thing. I wouldn't tell people to start with this album. But over time, I've learned to like it and appreciate it for what it is. It has its charm. So, another album, although there were releases between this, would be 6 years later, Judgement. So, Judgement came out. Now, if I were to put an exact date, I believe it's June 20th, 1999. So here it is. Now, everything about this has changed. The logo, Darren White was out of the band, and there is no down tuning or any of that heavy, dense riffage that was going on with the previous albums. Even with Alternative 4 and those other bands, other albums, should I say, sorry. You can already tell like all that metal was gone. These guys moved more towards that atmospheric, ethereal sound that went on. This album was very important to me back in 1999 because in the US, in May, I believe May 20th, it's when the Columbine, Colorado massacre happened. And 13 people were killed in the high school. 15 if you count the killers who eventually ended up killing themselves. And it was a very dark period in my life, in most of America, who were shocked and trying to reel from this. This is just, a really dark period for everybody. And this album dropped in June and was exactly what I needed. This is a remedy album for me to cope with what was going on in the country and the violence and everything else. And this is the reason I bring this up is because even by looking at the cover, it screams escapism. So if you need like a really good escape kind of listen, this is perfect. It's all clean vocals. Listen to songs like Forgotten Hopes, Destiny is Dead. So it has doomy, kind of melancholy kind of titles, but you still come out feeling a little uplifted for some reason. Don't Look Too Far, Emotional Winter, excellent release. You could probably tell from the thumbnail, I enjoyed this very much. So that was question number 1, Anathema. Next, for number 2. Question number 2. Something Borrowed. Recommend me a song from any metal subgenre that you think I should really check out. Andy, I know you have quite a wide range of tastes, and you have a certain, I think, leanings towards a lot of that classic stuff too. But I thought maybe I can recommend something that's a little maybe out of the ways, maybe stuff I don't see you show too often in this genre in general. I haven't seen every single video you've posted, so maybe there are some other things that are related. So this is a band out of Chicago, Illinois, and they are called Black Road. They formed in, I want to say, 2015. So they are a pretty recent band, and they play a sort of doom, simplistic kind of bluesy. Most people will kind of put them in that stoner category. And let me show you the cover. This has a letter they wrote to me when I made the order. So this is a self-titled EP. Came out in 2017. They ended up autographing it, which is phenomenal. I didn't ask for that, but they went ahead and did that with the order, and I have zero objections to that. So here is the... so it's just lyrics and song titles with quite a bit of smoke. So I can see why people would put them in that stoner category. It's very mid-pace, very often groove-laden, but it's very creative. And it is... 4 members. Now, the song I recommend in this is this song right here. It's the last song on side B, or the last song on the CD, depending on the format that you listen to. Black Rose, very interesting song. It's the longest song on here. It's over 10 minutes. And the reason I bring this up is because, being that this is their debut, they have put out a full length in 2019 called Witch of the Future. Excellent. Highly recommended. This is female vocals. Her name is Susie Uzi. Right here. And just her stage presence. You can tell she's having fun and really getting into the vibes. I'll leave a YouTube link and you can see for yourself. But the song Black Rose almost feels like a swan song album. It's the kind of song where you'll be okay. You can play this at my funeral. It has that whole kind of departing element to it. And there's a build-up. It starts off very slow, very kind of sweet guitars, and it starts to build up and build up and build up. And it gets into these doom kind of moments. And it has all these mix of elements and styles. So it's a nice mix of what this band is about, all in that one song. It mixes all these elements. So if you want to know what they're like, a 10-minute track is probably a good way to go, if you're into that. So this was put out by DHU. And this would be very hard to find. I actually got the sort of splatter kind of, I don't know, I'm not sure what you call this, I forget. But if you can find this, highly recommend it. The song Black Rose, I'll leave a Bandcamp link, and it's a very enjoyable listen. And check out their full length. So that was question number 2. Question 3. Something Blue. Show a blue colored album or album cover. And this was actually a very easy one. I have a lot of blue albums, but this one was pretty blatantly there. So that would be Kontinuum. The album is No Need to Reason. So they are from Reykjavik, Iceland. Here it is. As you can see, there's quite a bit of blue happening there and smoke. Although they're not stoner like that Black Road, which had that smoke going on too. So not everything that has smoke is stoner. So this is what I call almost progressive elements with some post-black metal but it's not quite black metal. It's almost, I would say, it's more favorable towards that gothic sound. It's all clean vocals, and it's if they're compared a lot to Solstafir, so if you like Solstafir, I see no reason why you wouldn't like this album. It's excellent. Production is amazing on this. So much clarity. And this is one of those bands that makes me want to look more into the Icelandic scene and just, there's quite a few bands I already enjoy from there, but I feel like I'm not doing enough to really get more familiar with the stuff coming out of that country. So that is Kontinuum. No Need to Reason. The actual vinyl, which I luckily got, was the blue variant right here. Let me pull it out because it's a very nice blue, actually. So if that's not blue, I don't know what is. So that was 3. Let's move on to the last one, which I'm going to leave a little bit of time for, which is it's not metal. So if you're only into metal stuff and don't care for anything non-metal, you can check out here. That's fine. I totally understand. But hang on, maybe you'll learn a thing or two and see where it goes. Question number 4. Show 2 different albums that have song titles containing words that relate to weddings, bride, groom, aisle, bouquet. The songs themselves do not have to be about weddings in particular. This was a very challenging one, and I'm sure anybody who's done this has probably ran into that same roadblock. Although I don't think Andy meant it literally that it has to be a song. It could be an album. It could be all kinds of... There are many kinds of references out there that's related. So I decided I have 2 CDs here, and they're both from the UK, as a matter of fact, and I thought it'd be very appropriate for this video. So the first CD, it's a very, very well-known band, very iconic, mainly in the 80s, although I think they're still together in some form or another. But this album actually came out in the 90s. So that is Duran Duran. And now the reason I'm showing this one right here, so let me pull the cover out so you can actually see what it is. They are from Birmingham, actually, England. And you can clearly see a wedding there. So I went with a visual for this one. So this is, I think, officially known as just their self-titled album. But everybody and everything is referring this as the wedding album. Anywhere you look, it's basically the wedding album. It's almost like I can compare it to Metallica's Black Album. Although it's technically their self-titled album, it's known as the Black Album. So this is known as the wedding album. And this, to me, it's probably their best. Not the best. I think Rio is probably kind of just bumps as a spot back just by 1. But that's my first wedding reference release. I mean, Come Undone, Ordinary World. I mean, those songs are, they get stuck in your head. Very iconic. And that is the first wedding one. The second one is, this band is a little quirky and interesting. At first, it may not seem that way. So that is America. Greatest Hits. So History. And it's a compilation. And there's a song, number 6, called Only in Your Heart. Which, come on, that's pretty much screams wedding and, all the romantic and everything that go on with it. There's a song in here called Sister Golden Hair, which also has a lyric, I'm not ready for the altar. Though, so the word altar is in there in the lyric. So with Sister Golden Hair, and, I figured that's a good tie-in. This particular band, as I was researching a little more about getting to know, preparing for this video, I actually learned a few things. One, why are they called America, for one? Because there were servicemen from the U.S. who went over to England and, had 3 sons, who formed this band. So, they had American fathers, although they were based over in London. And they decided to call themselves America because they did not want to seem like the Brits trying to imitate Americans. So it was kind of genius from a marketing perspective. They just outright called themselves America. I mean, look at Asia. I mean, they took a whole continent, that band, they went after, Europe's already taken, right? So America is a band that, it's pretty much, the UK's answer to Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So they're all that vocal harmony kind of style approach to vocalization. They've had some pretty legendary producers and engineers work on with these guys. Interesting fact, this cover, including their Heart album, was done by a fellow by the name of Phil Hartman. That's right, the comedian who was killed by his manic depressive wife and, in the murder-suicide. But before he became a comedian, tragic as his ending was, he was a graphic designer. And he did quite a bit of recognizable artwork. And for, if you follow these kind of bands in the 70s, and some in the 80s. So there's a song here I thought I just mention real quick. So number 11 called Daisy Jane. So Daisy Jane, if I throw some J's here we go. Listen to Janet Jackson's Let's Wait a While. You see it borrows very, very, very heavily from this, especially that first part in that first verse. Don't believe me? Check it out. Let's Wait a While, Daisy Jane, and you'll see. There was a guy named, was it Jammin' Jim, something like that, who I think is one of the songwriters for Janet Jackson, who I think kind of borrowed elements from this. Even that song, Let's Wait a While, it's a lot like Sister Golden Hair, because, it entails of not committing, let's take our time, I'm not ready for this. So it has those similar, it's just a lot of weird parallel kind of connections that I see between something like this and, Janet Jackson. And that's why I said the J's. It all kind of just connects. It's so strange. So that was America. And that should cover at least both of the weddings. It's a very strange way to tie it in, I know. But I hope that qualifies, and I hope maybe you learned something or two. So those were my 4 questions. And I'll just leave it at that. And it's been fun. Can't wait to see who the winner is. And congratulations, Andy, on 1,000 subscribers. And now that you're a little bit over, and I hope you get to 2,000 very soon. Have a dreadful one.